A wall, a symbol of security, a promise to make America great again. "Build the wall!" they roared. Steve Bannon saw an opportunity. The We Build the Wall campaign was born. Donations poured in, millions of dollars. But behind the facade, a different story unfolded. Accusations of fraud surfaced. The wall became a monument to deception. From its inception, the We Build the Wall campaign attracted its share of scrutiny. Critics, including politicians, journalists, and watchdog groups, raised concerns about the project's legitimacy, its financial transparency, and the motives of those at the helm. The speed with which the campaign amassed millions of dollars, coupled with vague promises about its execution, fueled suspicions. Some questioned whether a privately funded project could realistically undertake such a massive infrastructure project, particularly given the complex legal and logistical hurdles involved. Warnings were issued, red flags raised, but they were often drowned out by the chorus of support for the project. Bannon, a master of media manipulation, effectively leveraged his platform to discredit critics, painting them as part of the very establishment he had vowed to dismantle. He tapped into the deep-seated distrust of mainstream media and political institutions that had fueled Trump's rise, effectively deflecting scrutiny and solidifying support among the base. For many, the allure of the wall, the tangible representation of a secured border, overshadowed any lingering doubts. The campaign's messaging, infused with patriotic fervor and a sense of urgency, resonated deeply with those who felt their concerns had been ignored for too long. The promise of taking action, of reclaiming control, proved irresistible, even in the face of mounting skepticism. The campaign's online presence, particularly on social media platforms, became a breeding ground for misinformation and conspiracy theories. Supporters, energized by a shared sense of purpose and fueled by a steady diet of pro-Trump, anti-establishment rhetoric, dismissed any negative coverage as fake news or attacks from a biased media. The echo chamber effect, amplified by social media algorithms, created an environment where dissenting voices were silenced and critical thinking was stifled. The unraveling of the We Build the Wall campaign and the subsequent downfall of Steve Bannon played out like a slow-motion car crash, each stage marked by increasingly damning revelations. Initially, there were whispers, murmurs of financial irregularities, of funds being misused, of promises being broken. These whispers grew louder, fueled by investigative reporting and whistleblowers coming forward with inside information. In August 2020, the hammer fell. Federal agents arrested Steve Bannon, charging him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. The indictment alleged that Bannon, along with 3 associates, had orchestrated a scheme to defraud donors to the We Build the Wall campaign, siphoning off hundreds of thousands of dollars for personal use. The indictment painted a picture of brazen deception, of a scheme designed to enrich themselves at the expense of patriotic Americans who believed they were contributing to a noble cause. The news of Bannon's arrest sent shockwaves through the political landscape. For his detractors, it was a moment of vindication, confirmation of their long-held suspicions about the man and his motives. For his supporters, it was a blow, a betrayal by someone they had placed their trust in. The very symbol of their movement, the wall itself, became tainted, a reminder of the alleged deception that had taken place. The indictment detailed a scheme that was as audacious as it was cynical. Bannon and his co-conspirators allegedly used shell companies and a network of associates to funnel money from the campaign to their personal accounts. These funds were then used to finance lavish lifestyles, including luxury travel, high-end shopping sprees, and even the purchase of a yacht. The indictment alleged that Bannon had personally received over $1 million from the scheme, money that was supposed to be used to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border. The We Build the Wall campaign was meticulously crafted to appeal to Trump's base. It tapped into the anxieties of those who felt left behind by globalization. Bannon played a pivotal role using media manipulation and populist rhetoric. He simplified complex issues into sound bites and slogans. The message was clear: America was under threat. This narrative resonated deeply with those who felt their country was slipping away. Bannon provided them with a tangible symbol of that promise: a wall. The campaign's website and social media presence reinforced this message. Images of a fortified border created a sense of urgency and patriotism. Donors felt a personal connection to the cause. They were reclaiming their country brick by brick, but behind this facade lay a calculated scheme to defraud. The campaign was rife with financial irregularities. Money poured in faster than it could be accounted for. Promises about the wall's construction were vague and contradictory. Bannon and his associates exploited the trust of donors. They used donations to fund their own lavish lifestyles. It was a betrayal of the very people they claimed to represent. Section 2. Following the money trail. Investigators followed a labyrinthine trail of money through shell companies, dubious transactions, and offshore accounts. The scheme was designed to obscure the flow of funds, making it difficult to trace the money back to its source. Brian Kolfage, a key figure, presented himself as a patriotic American dedicated to securing the border. He claimed that 100% of the donations would go towards building the wall. However, according to the indictment, this was a sham. Kolfage, Bannon, and others allegedly diverted funds to their personal accounts. These funds financed a lavish lifestyle, including luxury items and cosmetic surgery. Prosecutors argued it was a deliberate effort to defraud donors for personal gain. Section 3. Beyond the border wall. As investigations into the We Build the Wall campaign progressed, a troubling pattern began to emerge, suggesting that the alleged fraud may have been part of a broader pattern of financial misconduct by Bannon. His history, both before and after his involvement with the Trump campaign, was marked by a series of questionable business dealings and allegations of financial impropriety. Prior to his foray into politics, Bannon had made a fortune on Wall Street, working as an investment banker at Goldman Sachs. However, his time in the financial world was not without controversy. In the late 1990s, Bannon was sued by his former business partners, who accused him of fraud, breach of contract, and self-dealing. The lawsuit alleged that Bannon had misappropriated company funds for personal use and had engaged in a pattern of deception and manipulation. Following his departure from Goldman Sachs, Bannon went on to found a series of media ventures, including Breitbart News, a far-right website known for its inflammatory rhetoric and promotion of conspiracy theories. Breitbart, under Bannon's leadership, became a powerful voice in conservative media, amplifying Trump's message and attacking his opponents. However, Bannon's tenure at Breitbart was also marked by allegations of financial mismanagement. Former employees accused him of using company funds for personal expenses and of creating a hostile work environment. These allegations, coupled with Bannon's previous legal troubles, raised questions about his financial dealings and his fitness for public office. Section 4. The Walls Close In. The walls began to close in on Steve Bannon in the summer of 2020 as the weight of the allegations against him mounted. The We Build the Wall campaign, once a symbol of his populist appeal and ability to mobilize Trump's base, had become a liability, a constant reminder of the accusations of fraud and deception that swirled around him. The indictment, unsealed in August 2020, sent shockwaves through the political world. It painted a damning portrait of Bannon and his associates, alleging that they had engaged in a brazen scheme to defraud donors, using their contributions to fund their own lavish lifestyles. The indictment detailed a pattern of deception and manipulation, with Bannon at the center, directing the flow of money and using his influence to silence critics. The arrest itself was dramatic. Federal agents apprehended Bannon on a yacht owned by a Chinese billionaire, a detail that only added to the sense of intrigue and scandal surrounding the case. Bannon, once a powerful figure in the Trump administration and a key architect of his victory, was now facing the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence. The indictment and subsequent arrest marked a stunning fall from grace for Bannon. The man who had positioned himself as a champion of the working class, a fighter against the deep state and the corrupt establishment, now stood accused of using the very people he claimed to represent for personal gain. The irony was not lost on his critics, who saw his arrest as a long overdue reckoning. Steve Bannon, accused of orchestrating a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme, is no stranger to controversy. His career spans Hollywood, Wall Street, and right-wing media, marked by disruption and a relentless pursuit of power. To understand Bannon, one must delve into his past, tracing his rise to political influence and legal peril. Born in Virginia, Bannon's early life offered little indication of his future path. He excelled academically, earning a degree in urban planning before joining the Navy. In the Navy, stationed in the Pacific, Bannon's worldview solidified, shaped by patriotism and anti-communism. After the Navy, he earned an MBA from Harvard Business School. Bannon then joined Goldman Sachs, immersing himself in high finance. He developed theories about power dynamics that shaped his political ideology. Bannon's time on Wall Street was brief. He co-founded a boutique investment bank specializing in media deals. This move led him to Hollywood, where he honed his storytelling skills. Bannon produced conservative documentaries exploring themes central to his political endeavors. The death of Andrew Breitbart in 2012 created a void in right-wing media, a void that Steve Bannon was eager to fill. Breitbart News became a powerful force, known for its aggressive style. Bannon envisioned Breitbart as a platform for the alt-right, channeling anger into a potent political force. Breitbart became a megaphone for the alt-right, providing a platform for their views on immigration, race, and Islam. The rise of Breitbart coincided with Donald Trump's emergence. Breitbart became a mouthpiece for the Trump campaign. The relationship between Steve Bannon and Donald Trump was one of mutual convenience, a convergence of ambition, ideology, and a shared disdain for the status quo. Bannon joined the Trump campaign in August 2016, when many had written off Trump's chances. Bannon's influence was immediate, encouraging Trump to embrace populist rhetoric. After Trump's victory, Bannon became chief strategist, pushing a nationalist agenda. However, his abrasive style led to his ousting in August 2017. The We Build the Wall scandal, with its brazen allegations of fraud, landed squarely within the tumultuous context of Donald Trump's presidency. Bannon's alleged scheme appeared to many as a microcosm of a larger pattern of behavior within Trump's inner circle. The case struck a chord because it seemed to confirm suspicions that Trump's inner circle was more interested in self-enrichment than serving the public good. The Trump administration was a magnet for scandal-plagued figures, each with their own tale of alleged wrongdoing and legal entanglements. From campaign advisors to close confidants, the list of those facing scrutiny was extensive. Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, and Michael Cohen were among the most notable. Manafort was convicted of fraud, Flynn lied to the FBI, and Cohen violated campaign finance laws. These scandals cast a long shadow over Trump's presidency. Did Trump and his associates believe they were above the law? Trump cultivated an image of a master dealmaker, unconstrained by norms or legalities. His actions often seemed to bear out this belief. This sense of impunity extended to his associates. They felt empowered to engage in risky behavior, believing loyalty to Trump shielded them. Trump's attacks on media and justice reinforced this belief. The We Build the Wall scandal epitomized this sense of being above the law. It eroded public trust and fueled cynicism about the political process. Loyalty, in Donald Trump's world, was not a virtue to be cultivated, but a commodity to be traded. It was transactional, conditional, and always subject to the whims of the boss. Those who demonstrated unwavering allegiance were rewarded with power and influence. Those who questioned him were cast aside, often publicly humiliated. This approach created an environment where blind loyalty trumped ethical considerations. Fear of reprisal silenced dissenting voices, blurring the line between right and wrong. The final act of the We Build the Wall saga played out in the Oval Office, where Trump wielded his pardon power with a mix of vindictiveness and disregard for the rule of law. Among those pardoned was Steve Bannon, shielding him from prosecution for his role in the border wall scheme. This pardon sent shockwaves through the legal and political establishment. It was seen as an attempt to obstruct justice and protect a loyal ally. The pardon nullified the investigation, leaving a cloud of suspicion. It raised questions about accountability and the potential for abuse of power. The "We Build the Wall" scandal serves as a cautionary tale about unchecked power and blind loyalty. It reminds us that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. The pronouncements of a witch hunt reverberated through the conservative media sphere, echoing from talk radio shows to Fox News. Steve Bannon, the embattled architect of Trump's victory, had become the latest victim of a vast, shadowy conspiracy orchestrated by the liberal elite.
Or so the narrative went, spun with indignation and defiance by Bannon's defenders, who rallied to his side, their outrage amplified by social media. The "We Build the Wall" scandal, they argued, was about silencing a powerful voice on the right, a voice that dared to challenge the established order.
Bannon, in their telling, was a political prisoner, a martyr to the cause of Trumpism, targeted for his beliefs. The charges against Bannon, they claimed, were trumped up, the product of a partisan witch hunt.
The mainstream media, eager to take down Trump and his allies, presented a distorted and biased account of the case.
This narrative of persecution resonated deeply with Trump's base, already primed to believe that the establishment was out to get them.
The counter-narrative spun by Bannon's supporters relied heavily on the rhetorical tactics of Trumpism, sowing doubt, discrediting opponents, and appealing to emotion over reason.
However, when subjected to factual analysis, the defense of Bannon crumbled under the weight of its own contradictions and the sheer volume of evidence.
Take, for instance, the claim that the charges against Bannon were politically motivated. While the timing of the indictment was politically sensitive, the investigation had been underway for over a year, initiated by the Southern District of New York.
Furthermore, the evidence against Bannon, as laid out in the indictment, was substantial and damning. Prosecutors presented a detailed account of how Bannon and his associates allegedly siphoned off millions of dollars from the "We Build the Wall" campaign.
And text messages that appeared to corroborate their allegations and pointed to Bannon's direct involvement. Emails. They presented bank records.
The defense's attempts to discredit the evidence were often convoluted and unconvincing.
Donald Trump's response to Steve Bannon's indictment and subsequent pardon was a masterclass in calculated ambiguity.
Trump recognized the political risks inherent in defending a close ally accused of defrauding his own supporters.
In the immediate aftermath of Bannon's arrest, Trump sought to distance himself, claiming he had not been involved in the "We Build the Wall" campaign.
Trump had praised the campaign in the past, and had even appeared at a fundraising event for the organization. As the case against Bannon progressed, Trump's tone shifted. He began to publicly defend Bannon, calling him a good man who had been treated very badly.
These pronouncements, while pleasing to his base, did little to help Bannon's legal case.
Trump's decision to pardon Bannon in the waning days of his presidency surprised few but disappointed many.
The weight of the pardon, heavy with political implication, did little to ease the pressure on Bannon. While Trump's clemency shielded him from federal prosecution, it offered no protection from New York State.
The Empire State, with its own set of laws, had been quietly building its own case against Bannon.
The federal pardon did not extinguish the flames of justice burning in Manhattan. New York Attorney General Letitia James had been laying the groundwork for months, assembling a team to dissect the financial intricacies of the "We Build the Wall" campaign.
James made it clear that no one, not even a close confidant of the former president, was above the law.
The investigation in New York delved deeper into the financial machinations of the campaign, examining potential ties to other Trump-aligned organizations.
The federal pardon may have actually played into the hands of New York prosecutors, clearing the path for a state-level case. The legal battleground had shifted to New York State Court, where the stakes were higher and the consequences for Bannon more perilous. The federal pardon held no sway in this arena. Bannon now faced a formidable array of charges, carefully crafted by the New York Attorney General's office. The charges, rooted in state statutes, accused Bannon and his co-conspirators of engaging in a brazen scheme to defraud donors. The prosecution's strategy was to portray Bannon as the mastermind behind the entire operation. They argued that Bannon had used his influence to solicit millions of dollars from unsuspecting donors. The defense would likely employ a multi-pronged strategy, seeking to undermine the credibility of the prosecution's witnesses and casting doubt on the paper trail of financial transactions. The outcome of this legal showdown remained uncertain. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation, a palpable tension hanging in the air. The jury, a microcosm of New York City's rich tapestry, sat stoically, their faces betraying little of the momentous decision that lay before them. Bannon, once a towering figure in the corridors of power, now a defendant facing the very real possibility of a lengthy prison sentence, sat rigidly at the defense table. The question on everyone's mind was whether justice would be served in this case. Would Bannon manage to evade accountability once again, or would the weight of the evidence tip the scales in favor of those he had allegedly wronged? The potential implications of a guilty verdict extended far beyond the walls of the courtroom. A conviction would send shockwaves through the upper echelons of American society, shattering the perception of impunity that had long shielded those in Trump's inner circle. Conversely, an acquittal would be hailed as a victory by Bannon supporters, further fueling their narrative of persecution. The dust settles in the courtroom, the gavel falls silent, and Steve Bannon fades into the background noise of a news cycle hungry for the next scandal. Yet, the echoes of his alleged deception linger, a stark reminder of the fragility of trust in an era defined by misinformation and partisan rancor. The We Build the Wall scandal exposed a deeper societal malaise, a gnawing sense that the institutions designed to protect and serve the public good had been compromised. The very notion of a shared national identity had become fractured, replaced by competing narratives. The rise of social media, while democratizing access to information, had also created a breeding ground for misinformation and conspiracy theories. The lines between fact and fiction became increasingly blurred, making it difficult for citizens to discern truth from falsehood. The Bannon case exemplified the challenges of navigating this complex information landscape. It highlighted the ease with which those in positions of power could manipulate public opinion, sow doubt, and evade accountability. The We Build the Wall scandal was a symptom of deeper societal anxieties and resentments. Bannon tapped into these fears, channeling them into a potent political force. The wall symbolized a desire to preserve a way of life perceived to be under threat. The We Build the Wall saga, for all its disheartening revelations, also offered hope, a reminder that even in the face of deception, the flame of democratic engagement endures. Exposing the scheme, holding those in power accountable, and civic engagement are vital. The task now falls upon the citizenry to reclaim the narrative, to wrest control from those who profit from division. It requires critical thinking, civil discourse, and a shared vision for a just future. The We Build the Wall scandal is a potent parable for our times. It reminds us that safeguarding democracy requires eternal vigilance and active engagement. The responsibility rests on each of us. Our commitment to truth and justice is essential. The future of our democracy is an ongoing project.